On behalf of American Airlines, thank you for joining us. I'm Jeff Corum, head of JFK T8 Commercial Affairs. As terminal operator of JFK Terminal 8, it's an exciting moment for American Airlines. American Airlines recently completed its $400 million terminal expansion that provided an enhanced travel experience for our customers and those of our partners. Now, we move on to the next phase of transforming JFK Terminal 8, a $125 million commercial redevelopment program being completed in partnership with the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, along with JFK T8 Innovation Partners. This investment will expand and upgrade the concessions program with dynamic and all-new retail and dining options, placing an emphasis throughout the design, build, ownership, and operation on engaging locally owned and diverse businesses that reflect Queens, New York City, and New York State's one-of-a-kind spirit and culture. Together with the Port Authority and JFK T8 Innovation Partners, we look forward to providing a world-class experience for all those who travel and work at Terminal 8. JFK T8 Innovation Partners has been working hard to find concessionaire partners by engaging with the community. We at American Airlines could not have chosen a more dedicated commercial partner. Now we are ready to connect local, diverse businesses and build opportunities, and we look forward to working with all of you.
Hi, and good afternoon. And on behalf of JFK, TA Partners, and Unibail Rodamco Westfield, welcome to part 2 of our Architecture, Engineering, Design, and Construction Opportunity Sessions for JFK Terminal 8 Commercial Redevelopment Program. My name is Ronald Juarez, and I'm the Director of Tenant Coordination for URW, the commercial program developer and operator. Navigating procurement and a new business opportunities within airports is complex. We're here to help you understand what's available and to help you through the process. Today, we want to bring you up to speed about where we are with Terminal 8, commercial redevelopment, the tenant build-out types, and the architecture, engineering, design, business opportunities available, and as well as the compliance requirements here at Terminal 8. It sounds simple, but there's a variety of opportunities for different types of trades and businesses. We're going to focus on the architecture, the engineering, and design. We have another session on July 22nd, where we're going to focus on construction. These sessions will help you find the right ones for your firm. So we know many of you joined us in the past outreach events, educational sessions, business opportunities related to Terminal 8 expansion, which completed last year. Today, we're going to talk about phase 2, which involves opportunities for our firms to participate in the build-outs of 60+ new retail and dining experiences spaces that we have here at Terminal 8, that led by URW team that's bringing it to the terminal. If you have a question, please put it in the chat where we will get to you at the end. So let's introduce our panelists today. We have Elson Bakali, a Senior Design Director for URW, Quinta Bailey, Project Director for RF Wilkins Consultants, and Den Shanagan, JFK Project Manager for URW. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Elson to give you some insight on the design opportunities. Elson?
Thank you, Ron. Hi, everyone. My name is Elson. I am a Senior Director of Architecture and Design here at URW. I'm very happy to be here today, and I want to share some exciting opportunities at Terminal 8. Like Ron mentioned, there's a lot to look forward to, and I'm eager to guide you through some of the things that we're working on. So what are we doing here? So the biggest thing in this slide, as you can see, we're looking upwards to 60 concession units. What are these? These are going to be shops, retail areas, food and beverage units, so your typical restaurants and retail stores. Professionals in the architecture, interior design and engineering, contractors, and special services and consulting. My colleague Dennis is going to walk you through the general contracting and special services. I am going to concentrate on the architecture, interior design, and engineering portion. Next slide, please. This is a quick overview of some of the things that we look for in this type of in this type of terminal. But to take a step back, I'd like to just think about it a bit more broadly. The main thing that some of these concession units, these businesses, they will need architects, they will need contractors, and they will need engineers to make their dream a reality. All these businesses have an image in their head, a vision of what their business is and how they want to represent that business and how they want to engage with their customers in this terminal. And an architect's job is to take that vision and obviously put it in a piece of drawing and a piece of paper. An engineer will make it a reality, make sure that it stands up and doesn't fall down, and then ultimately contractors will come in and build it. We here at URW are going to be here to assist whoever's interested in these opportunities and help them through the nuances of some of the building in airports and building in mass transit and terminal environments. These are some visuals that you can see that represent the vision of what the new commercial upgrade is going to be here at Terminal 8. In this image, you can see it's a very engaging duty-free area that brings the customers into some really upscale, high luxury and fragrance shops. This is another angle. We are a little bit further back. You can see these like retail pavilions such as Greenwich Lux. For that, you can imagine like a brand that could come in there and sell their duty-free products. An architect would essentially take that vision there and make it into a set of drawings that can be permitted, that can be engineered, and that can be sent to a contractor for pricing. A contractor will then take those diagrams and essentially build it and make the dream a reality. As part of this program, there's also some areas that are performance areas that engage customer experience. Here you can see how the ceiling is designed in such a way that it flows down to the wall to create this like really beautiful performance space where customers, while they're shopping or taking care of whatever they need to in the airport, they can take a pit stop and just take in New York, take in a bit of a local experience while they're going about their busy life. This image is what a typical retail concourse could look like. You can see a few different businesses side by side, and the idea here is that these businesses create engaging, attractive areas that customers want to be drawn in, and the architects and the engineers teams would be taking these visions and communicating them to the contractor so that the vision of the business is ultimately translated to whatever we end up building. And with that, I would like to turn it over to Dennis, who will be walking you through some of the nuances of the contractor partners they'll be looking for. Dennis?
Thank you, Elson. Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is a very exciting session for me personally. I absolutely think we have one of the most amazing development programs here, and bringing people to share this vision with us, it's an absolute joy for me. So as Elson mentioned, my name is Dennis Shadakin. I am the project manager with URW, and I'm responsible for development of many stores within the terminal. Before we jump into specific build-out opportunities, I would like to take a short pause and allow everybody to think of this session as more of a stepping stone for a much bigger, larger airport exposure. As many of you might know, JFK is going through a major overall redevelopment, and while Terminal 8 is an integral part of that, we only a part of it. So any relationships that you guys will create as a result of these sessions will then carry on to other redevelopment projects. They will carry on to other terminals and possibly even to other airports. Now, to give you guys an overview of how the relationship is structured, URW is the developer for the commercial vision within JFK Terminal 8. URW provides retail opportunities and sets the vision for redevelopment. We, as URW, then partner with various tenants and various brands to create this vision into a reality. And in turn, the tenants and brands would hire their designers, engineers, and general contractors to actually deliver the spaces and develop them per our vision. Now, general contractors would typically need subcontractors to actually make the vision a reality. So you could think of them as a conductor in an orchestra where general contractor will pull different strings on different subcontractors, bring them into the project, and make that project a reality. So the need for subcontractors and the need for specialty vendors is essentially where the opportunities for the community lie. Now, in order for community to understand what we're looking for, in the general contractor's expectations that a tenant would set for themselves, as well as the expectations that URW has, I almost want to break it down into two buckets. So typically, a tenant would hire a general contractor who is familiar with a mass transit airport facility, someone who is licensed and insured in New York City, someone who can maintain a labor union harmony agreement, which is essentially an agreement, rules and regulations between the local unions, someone who is have experience with Port Authority and TSA rules and regulations, as well as someone who is familiar with TCAP process, which is the Airport Construction Standards and Processes, which is essentially a guidebook of how to build inside the airport. And also some of the nuanced processes such as inspections with the Port Authority, fire alarm procedures, shutdowns within the terminal. Now, as URW, we look, while we trust our partners to select the best possible general contractor, we also look for someone who has strong eye for details, who has ability to work safely and in a clean environment, who has the ability to work in a constrained spaces, who understands what it takes to build in the airport versus building it on the street, as well as someone who can open our projects on time, and someone who is able to be escorted and get badging in the airport. Now, I wanted to take a pause and look at this image, because most people will see an absolutely beautiful rendering, a vision, world-class. And while all of that is true, I see a tremendous amount of opportunities within this image. I see the need for carpenters. I see the need for tile contractors. I see the need for signage contractors. I see the need for structural contractors. I see the need for electricians. I see the need for biophilia. I see the need for furniture. I see the need for glass. So you can look at this image, and on one hand, you see this beautiful vision, but on the other hand, you see tremendous opportunities for the local community. Now, I also want everyone to understand that we as URW, we are not doing a facelift. We're doing a full redevelopment of the commercial program. What that means is we are doing a complete demolition of all of our existing spaces, and we're building them completely from scratch. So there will be a tremendous need for subcontractors and specialty vendors. I'm going to pick it up a little bit because, as I mentioned in the previous slide, we will need electricians, we will need low voltage consultants, we will need plumbers, tin knockers, carpenters, tile installers, demolition workers, laborers. Next slide. Mill workers, furniture makers, special inspectors, people who can look at the concrete, people who can look at fireproofing, people who can inspect structural, escorting services, post-construction cleaning. General contractor will need all these vendors and subcontractors to help them build these spaces. I'm going to slow down a bit. For us, we see this as a tremendous opportunity for the community. We encourage our tenants to partner up with the local community through compartmentalized opportunities. What does that mean? We ask our tenants to break up the work in a way where we can introduce new vendors to the airport environment. So new vendors can be successful, as well as use that opportunity as an educational experience to further develop their experience so they can go on to bigger projects, so they can have an opportunity to bid on maybe as a prime in the future. So we pride ourselves on this specific goal in a way where if this is not successful, we don't find this project success. That is part of our ultimate vision to make this project an overall success for the Terminal 8, for the airport community, and for JFK. Now, we will go into more detail about various opportunities and various partnerships available with prime contractors, as well as specific processes to be certified with these general contractors in the next session. But in the meantime, I will kick it back to Ron to introduce our next speaker. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you, Dennis. That was very informative, as well as Elson. Thank you for presenting the design that we're going to be transforming the Terminal 8, the concession program. Now I'd like to finally turn it over to Quentin to give us some information about the compliance requirements. Quentin?
Thank you, Ron. Quentin Bailey from RF Wilkins, and I'm happy to step in for our project director, Diana Hilaire, today. Just to review, let's say a bit about diversity and to review the compliance requirements. And so diversity is one of the Port Authority's core values as part of the JFK redevelopment program as a whole. And so the agency works closely with our terminal developer teams to engage small businesses, including our MWBE businesses, and through every aspect of our terminal projects. So to qualify as an MWBE, first, you have to operate a for-profit business, no nonprofits. You must be at least 51% owned by one or more individuals who are a member of a minority group or women. Then to be in business for at least 1 year. And then finally, to have owners who are US citizens and or either permanent residents of the United States. Contracts that are awarded to these businesses will be credited toward the Port Authority's 30% MWBE goal. And that goal breaks down into 20% minority-owned businesses, MBEs, and 10% to women-owned businesses, or WBEs. In addition, JFK Redevelopment has maintained a preference and a priority for local small businesses in all procurements to ensure that the local community is represented in access to our contract opportunities. So what that means is, if you're located in Queens, there are two tiers that the redevelopment has identified. Tier 1 is the 37 zip codes that are closest to the airport community, and Tier 2 are the remaining zip codes in Queens. And so the priority is for those Queens-based zip codes, Tier 1 and Tier 2. And a full description of those zip codes and the tier locations is located on the JFK Redevelopment website, anewjfk.com. And if you look under the Work With Us tab, there's a tab there for the Port Authority, and there's a full description of the LBE distinction. And as always, we're always ready to answer any of your questions regarding certification, regarding MWBE eligibility, and any other concerns about compliance requirements. You can reach us at infot@rfwconsultants.com.
Great, Quentin. Thank you very much. So today we focus on A&E and D construction opportunities that we have here at Terminal 8. We do have more upcoming sessions that will focus more on construction opportunities, and that you will be able to have any opportunities to meet our GCs. And be sure, next slide, please. So the upcoming session we have is July 22nd for the new opportunities, August 5th for new contract opportunities to meet our GCs, August 19th and September 9th. You can scan the QR code to register for any of those sessions. And if you have any questions, as Quentin mentioned, please visit info.t8@rfwconsultants.com.
Thank you, Ronald. Good afternoon, everybody. First question we had is, what qualifications does my company need to work on phase 2? And does my company need to be pre-qualified with anyone in order to work on this phase? Ronald?
So you do have to be registered with the Port Authority. We also have our RFW Wilkins, who will be able to help us in assistance with any assistance with the registrations. There will be many opportunities that we will have at JFK Terminal 8, but this is a broader reach out to also the rest of JFK because of the redevelopment, as our panelists have mentioned today.
And does becoming pre-qualified enable my company to work on other projects with the general contractors? Ronald?
Repeat the question, please.
There's asking if they do become pre-qualified, does it enable their company to work with on other projects with the general contractors?
So there will be other opportunities you can work with all the contractors, right? So if by visiting the website, and we'll mention it at the end, the new JFK T8, which will give opportunities and explore to other GCs, you can work with other GCs. There are definitely will be opportunities here.
Someone wrote they've never done airport work before. Are there opportunities for my company to participate? I guess I'll give that to anyone that would like to answer.
I can take that. Absolutely, and this is exactly what I mentioned during my time, is that we encourage all of our tenants to essentially create a relationship with the local community through compartmentalized opportunity, essentially allocating a portion of work where it could be offered to the community, where people who never worked in the airport environment can essentially use that as a learning experience, right? And allow themselves to be successful in it, and then of course pick up more work along the way because they gained that experience.
Next question is, how will the concessions enhance the Terminal 8 passenger experience? I'll leave that to Dennis and Elson.
Sure, yeah, I can go first.
Go ahead, Elson.
I mean, basically, we're just giving the airport a big facelift. It's going to be night and day. Like, the customer experience is going to be vastly different. We're optimizing traveler flows, where we've taken into consideration the tenant mix and the type of businesses that are going to be coming here. It's going to be a big change for the better.
I look at it as the airport environment is changing in the United States specifically, and even more so locally here between New York and New Jersey. We have terminals that are essentially creating competition between each other, and every single terminal is trying to do better than the competition, right? So the intent is for passengers is to gain the passengers' trust and create experience where, let's say, if I'm an American airline traveler, or I used to travel with Delta, I would say, well, I like American Airlines terminal much better. It creates a much nicer experience for me. So I want to come to this terminal. So that is the intent, is to try to deliver the best possible experience to the passengers through our commercial program, as well as through our investment program that we're doing, the redevelopment program.
Thank you, Dennis and Elson. Ronald, what are the protocols in place to ensure a seamless experience for passengers while construction is happening?
Great question. As well as always, construction can be dangerous at times, but we are ensuring that we are protecting our construction areas, right? The areas will be blocked off. They will be barricaded. You will hear construction noise through your travel experience. We do apologize for that. But overall, we're really trying to elevate the entire terminal with this concession program. So there are protocols from entering into the terminal, and also navigating through, so to ensuring that all the protection to our passengers won't be harmed.
And then just to kind of go off of that as well, what are some of the challenges people will face working within a live airport?
Another great question. It's very interesting how it's not like the street. We are working in a live airport here, right? As you mentioned, Rosie. We have live, airplanes. Airplanes is the number one thing to get in and out. People want to get to their destination. So really there are security points, right? There's entering in through the main airport of JFK. There's security points that have to be checked out. So the contractor has to be hiring, and the tenant also has to be hiring security measures. And they also have to, as to get into the building, there are security points as well. It's not difficult. It's just following the rules and the regulations that are required, that have been set up, one, for safety of the airport, and two, for our passengers. That is the number one for that American Airlines cares.
And if I may add to that, just for people to understand, it's not like working on a street where you just come in, you capture the space, and you start your construction. You have to be mindful of, as we mentioned before, passenger experience. We have to be mindful of the noise. So if you're doing a demolition work, that has to be done off hours. If you're doing an electrical tie-in into the building that will impact lighting or will impact certain systems or baggage systems, you cannot just shut off a breaker and start doing your tie-ins. So all these different elements need to be taken into consideration as you're building within each of the tenant spaces or within the terminal as a whole. So it's very specific. But again, we're here to guide everyone we're working with. We're here to provide support. And the whole overall processes have been developed, right? As long as you follow those rules and regulations, you'll be all right.
So basically follow the rules and you're good to go.
Follow the rules.
That's right.
Yep. Okay. Next question we have, would you be looking for fast food or a la carte? So I will send that over to Elson and Dennis.
A fast food or a la carte?
Yeah, I don't think I understand the
Types
question.
of restaurants. So they're asking, would you be looking for fast food type of restaurants or a la carte? So I'm assuming specific branded restaurants.
Go ahead, Elson. You can kick it off if you want.
I'm not sure that, honestly, that I can answer that question. Again, generally speaking, I think our approach was that whichever business comes into the terminal, we would be there to assist them and help them provide with the right pool of talent to help them achieve the vision. As far as mix of tenancy, I'm not sure how much of that.
Well, I can comment on that a little bit. So when URW develops a commercial program, we almost look at it as if a strategic map, right? We have, let's say, 60 plus spaces, and we strategically allocate each space and position whether retail or a restaurant where it would make the most sense for the passenger experience, because again, it's all about passenger experience, right? So we look for various opportunities. We look for fast food, we'll look for sit-down restaurants, we'll look for retail spaces, travel essentials, we'll look for duty-frees, we look for services, let's say, a massage place like I think back in the day it was Express Spa. So we look at it strategically where it makes the most sense to put a specific type of restaurant or retail.
Thank you both. Quentin, does it help to be certified with New York City and New York State for this specific project?
Actually, for all the redevelopment opportunities, you must be either Port Authority certified or New York State certified. So if you only hold an MWBE or WBE certification with the city, connect with us and we'll certainly help you with getting started with the Port Authority's certification process and assist you with getting connected through that way. And you can send that again to info@rfwconsultants.com.
And just to add to that, the beauty about being registered with the Port Authority is you also now have New York and New Jersey.
That's right.
Capturing both states.
That's right.
So next question is, how are the architects and engineers selected and who carries their contract? So I will.
The client or the business owner would ultimately hold their contract, unless in specific reasons, like in our capital works project, we would then be the one holding it. So essentially, whoever pays for the final construction cost or the build out will be the one who holds the contract for the architect or the engineer as well.
For commercial program, it will be the tenants, our partners, essentially, our brands or our tenants who will be holding that contract.
So next question we have, which is a very popular question, is this a union project? And will there be a non-union carve out? So Ronald, I'm going to point that over to you.
Yeah, so the JFK is totally union. It's a union harmony. So we do want to keep that harmony. It's there's no disrespect to non-union. We believe they are qualified, but this is a union site.
Thank you. Quentin, are small businesses considered diversity if they are not a MWBE?
Well, small businesses can still qualify as local businesses. So certainly there's opportunity for them as well. And we know that it's going to take many hands and many entities to build the new JFK, including all we're doing at Terminal 8. So please go ahead and register at the site. And certainly we'll keep you informed by joining sessions like this to learn more about those opportunities.
And next question for you, Quentin, is LBE status an official certification through Port Authority?
No, some agencies do have an LBE certification, but not for Port Authority. So the LBE designation is really tied to where your business primary location for operations is located. So geographically, your zip code, and we look at your zip code where you're located. And if you fall into zip codes that have been identified as tier 1 or tier 2, that qualifies as local.
Thank you, Quentin. Next is for Ronald and Dennis. When will the RFPs for retail and services be released?
So many of the retailers that are going to be bidding on the project, there won't be an actual RFP. Leasing has gone out to different brands to capture the spaces. Again, this is in a bigger picture. There's opportunities at all the airports again for those opportunities. But for ours, there are specific spaces that have already been looked at, and they are still continuing to look for other architects and engineers and contractors.
So I would say a lot of our tenants currently are in the design phase, and we are slowly starting to approach the end of the design phase with some tenants. I can say that there will be opportunities where a tenant will start to go out to bid to contractors as soon as this month, with the work to be starting as soon as next month. So we're starting to approach that cycle where the bidding process is essentially starting now, I would say.
Okay, thank you. Quentin, are new businesses that are less than a year old disqualified even if they are certified?
That's a difficult one, Rosie, because probably if you're a new business, you're probably not certified unless you've been in business for a year. But if you have a special situation, certainly we can talk about it. It's not that you're disqualified, but to count towards MWBE certification, we'd look at as part of the MWBE review. We look at how long you've been in business and what your sales activities have been where your sales activities have been over that year. So if there's any gray area, certainly shoot us an email at info@rfwconsultants.com.
And then to kind of go off of that, would someone be able to come to the JFK Redevelopment Community Center and have someone assist them with certification with Port Authority if they are needed?
Sure. On Wednesdays, we have office hours. RFW has office hours at the center in the afternoon from 1 o'clock till 4 o'clock p.m. And then on Thursdays, there's usually certification assistance available at the center. And I'm there most Thursdays as well, from 2 to 4 in the afternoon to assist with any questions that you might have about JFK T8 certification and WBE as well.
Thank you. Ronald, how can a GC get in contact with potential clients in this phase of the work or the next phase?
Going through the website, the new JFK T8 will be able to get exposure. That's a lot of the tenants are going to be looking at as well. So use that website.
Okay. Next is, are there going to be opportunities for SDVOB firms, Quentin?
Sure, we're always looking to deepen the pool through certification for our service-disabled veteran-owned businesses. And we're always looking for those businesses to become certified so we can engage them and find an area where their expertise can be used at JFK T8.
Next question we had, Ronald, back to the union question. Do subcontractors need to be in union harmony in order to participate in any of these opportunities?
Yes, those the subcontractors do need to be union as well. So they would be following the rules and regulations for that.
So we have another MWBE question for you, Quentin. They are a New York State WBE CM, but they are not located in Queens. Will that disqualify them from being able to have any opportunity on bidding?
No, not that doesn't disqualify them, certainly. I'm not sure. Well, connect with us, certainly look out for that next outreach session on the 22nd, where you'll get a chance to talk directly with those prime contractors for those concessions build outs. I'm not sure how the construction managers will be engaged for that, but certainly those GCs will answer those questions. But the short answer is no, you're not disqualified.
Okay. Next is there an opportunity for a retailer to come into a ready-made store, or do they have to have their own general contractor and designer? I will leave that up to Dennis.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Is there an opportunity for a retailer to come into a ready built out store, or do they have to hire their own general contractor and designer if they get awarded?
I would say that we look for specific brands and specific partners that can deliver the overall vision to the program. Now, to say that, we do have local business opportunities, which we, as URW, built, where we can have the local community come in and essentially almost come into a white box and just add their kind of branding within the space. So we certainly have those opportunities, yes, like a pre-made opportunities. Yeah.
Got it. Next question I have, Ronald, is for you. Are the majority of these projects design build projects?
They incorporate all the design up front. There won't be a full out design build as here's the space and kind of design it where you need. URW really has a design focus. That's why my partner Elson is on here as well. Both of us collaborate with Dennis as well, is that we guide the architects and the tenant to really develop what type of space it's going to be. The architects will develop the set of drawings. There are submissions that are required in order to get through and to ensure that the design level is going to meet the standards, one for the terminal and two for American Airlines, right? We want to make sure that we are bringing the best in class in design and also what is the function of the space. So then they will be selecting their contractor to build out the space and then getting it through to opening process.
Thank you. Elson, If someone is a interior design, how do they find out if there's opportunity for them?
Like Dennis mentioned earlier, a lot of the design process for T8 is kind of been completed. We're at the end stages of completing the technical documentation for a lot of these spaces. However, to Dennis's and Ron's point, there is a lot more opportunities coming up in the other terminals that are still not even started in some of the other design and engagement processes with the tenants. So for interior designers, the opportunity would be there in the future. Right now, we're T8, or at least this commercial program is more in the early implementation stages.
Okay, thank you. So the famous question we keep getting, Ronald and Dennis, when will the GCs be announced?
You mean who are the GCs?
Yes.
As we mentioned, the next session is essentially our meet and greet to the GCs. And this will be an opportunity where we essentially provide to the community the names and the specialties of these general contractors, where you guys can then connect individually, and get certified with them, register with them, and have now opportunities to bid on projects. So the next session, I would say, in short.
So keep a lookout and just register for our next upcoming sessions.
That's right.
Quentin, we have an LBE question. If I have been in a Queens location for over 6 years, am I considered a LBE?
Yes. So again, the LBE designation is based on where you operate your business from. And so if you've been located in one of those Queens zip codes, yes, you qualify as an LBE, any of those Queens zip codes that are either tier 1 or tier 2.
Thank you. Next question we have is, will there be site-specific union agreements, Ronald?
Yes, they are. Again, this is a union harmony site, so there will be the union requirements.
Okay. Then we have, where can I get information regarding LBE tier qualification and requirements? Quentin?
Sure. So if you go to anewjfk.com, right at the top of the site, you'll see a tab that says Work with Us. Under that tab, you'll see a page for the Port Authority. And right at the top of that page, they talk about diversity and MWBE participation, and there's a full discussion on those LBE designations and those zip codes.
Thank you, Quentin. So Dennis and Ronald, we have a question where they are asking, when will the bidding take place for the concessionaire portion?
Not sure if I understand correctly. For the actual
Work,
like
for
a
the
brand
concession.
or the work.
For the retail concession work.
So as I mentioned, with some projects we're at the end of the design phase. We're actually putting in for permitting now with a couple of projects already. So the actual bidding is probably going to start this month, and the actual work will probably start next month. So, but that's just for some projects. Some projects are ahead of others. It's all kind of phased out. But I would say that from this point on, I would say every month you will start seeing, the RFPs come out for the bidding phase, probably until the end of the year, I would say at this point.
Yeah, and just a reminder that again, even though we are finishing our design here at Terminal 8 with our tenants, there are other opportunities on T1 and T6 and the whole JFK property. So again, the architects and engineers, they're not out yet. There's still opportunities. So don't think that just because you missed T8, there are opportunities. So this is a much bigger picture than the T8.
Yeah, and typically other terminals will have their own outreach for specific sourcing of these resources. So just keep a lookout for that as well, as my recommendation.
So that kind of wraps up our questions for today. You guys got a lot of questions. I'm sure we'll be getting more. So thank you, Ronald, Dennis, Allison, and Quentin. And everybody, please sign up for the July 22nd for the construction portion of our live session. So we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you all.
Great, thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone.
Thanks, everyone.